All right, folks, welcome back to another Obscure Mics. It is Bark coming at you. And today we're going to talk about an audio interface from M-Audio. A lot of people have been waiting on this one. It is the M-Track Solo from M-Audio. M-Audio M-Track Solo. And let's go ahead and turn that up just a little bit there. First things first, I'm having a ton of trouble getting a decent level out of the M-Audio M-Track Solo. But first, let's talk about what comes in the box and the build quality. So we've got the M-Track Solo, $49, small box. Let's see what comes in the box. So it's a standard USB-A printer style cable. So you get that. I'm going to get the device itself. M-Audio M-Track Solo. It is very lightweight, very hollow sounding, completely plastic on the front, top, and sides. The back plate is also plastic. So we've got a full plastic build with your input 1 knob with a little bit of give, nothing crazy. Your input 2 knob, a little bit of give, nothing crazy. And your output for your headphones or USB playback. Got a switch for direct monitoring or USB monitoring. Got a standard headphone out, not a 1/4 inch. Got the 3.5 millimeter, is that what it is? Phantom power on-off switch. We've got your instrument in and a line switch for that. And then you've got your combo jack on the front. On the back, you got stereo outs and USB connection. So pretty bare bones. I will say, in comparison to like the Behringer UM2, the build quality is about the same. I'm not impressed with either. And the M-Audio apparently is a competitor to the UM2. I'm not sure what else it would be. Is it as good as the Behringer UM2? Let's find out. All right, you also get some software included with the M-Audio. You get Pro Tools First M-Audio Edition. Not sure what that's all about. You get MPC Beats, Virtual Instruments by Expandy 2, and effects from 11 Light, guitar amps and FX modeling, and 20 Avid effect plugins as well with the M-Audio M-Track Solo. Great. That might be the best thing about it. So when I saw that this was available, I thought, okay, we've got a Behringer UM2 competitor out of M-Audio, and I'm going to be upfront real quick. M-Audio. My experience with M-Audio has been not good. The M-Audio Nova is a solid microphone. Besides that, I don't have a lot good to say. Every interface I've used, MIDI keyboards. MIDI keyboards are solid from M-Audio, but for the most part, I don't find anything good about stuff from M-Audio. The M-Track Solo so far is no different. Absolutely no different. As you saw in the video before, it is an all-plastic build. Now, I'm not as techie as, say, Julian Krause or Podcastage, Bandrew over at Podcastage. They go really in-depth with these devices. The point of me doing an audio interface today for you guys is just to see if this is worth buying for $1 more than the Behringer UM2. Now, here's the experience I had when I opened the box. The first thing I did was I hooked a dynamic microphone up to the M-Audio, and I'll tell you what happened here shortly. I thought this was a broken unit. It is not a broken unit. I've got the Movo VSM2 with me in the studio. It's a condenser microphone. I wanted to start out with this to see how far we had to drive the preamp, which is a crystal preamp from M-Audio. I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay, a crystal preamp. It's the same as like a Xenix preamp on a Behringer. Like, are you trying to fancy this up so we think maybe it's going to be great? Let me tell you, the crystal
preamp in this thing is not great. I was pretty excited that maybe there was a $49 entry into the audio interface market that might be something. Why make it? You know, why even mess with it? But you got the Behringer UM2, which is a decent interface for $48, so why bring out the $49 one? Obviously, so dumbasses like me can buy it. Anyways, here's the problem. This condenser microphone that I've got that I'm getting okay levels out of, and it doesn't really sound great. We're currently set. I swear this thing shows that it's clipping, but in Audacity, which is where I'm doing a quick recording of this thing, it's not clipping on the recording, but it seems to be clipping in the interface. The clip signal indicator light keeps getting real close. See that little red there? To clipping. I've got this condenser microphone cranked up to a 9 out of 10 on this interface, and it needs every bit of that to drive this. My experience with the dynamic microphone I hooked up, I thought, okay, I was using a good Shure dynamic microphone. I thought maybe, okay, it's not powerful enough to really power that. But then you plug in a condenser and I'm getting not the greatest sound out of a 9 out of 10. Let me dial it back to an 8. Go down to 8. And then going down to 7. Got to really get loud to get anything out of it at 7. Go on to 6. 5, 4. I think you get the point. So anyways, the M-Audio with the Nova Condenser Microphone, it barely has the power to drive it. So let's go ahead and switch to a crowd favorite, the Groove Tubes condenser microphone, and see if we get any better results out of this thing. Okay, so now we've got the Groove Tubes handheld convertible microphone hooked up to the M-Audio M-Track Solo, and immediately better sound in my opinion over the Movo microphone. This has really grown on me a lot. But getting good levels at a 9. Let's go ahead and turn it down to an 8. Still getting okay levels at an 8. And then of course at a 7 and a 6. And a 5. So, I mean, we've got to go in between about 8 and 9 to get some decent levels on this microphone. So, even with a condenser, the M-Track Solo and its crystal preamps, not quite doing the job for me. I mean, it is... There's not a lot of hiss in the background, but the overhead... With a condenser, you're going to be okay, I guess, especially with a cheap condenser. But with a dynamic microphone, it's going to be a struggle to get this thing dialed in. And you're definitely not driving an SM7B with it. So let's go ahead and grab a couple dynamics, see if it can do the job with those, and we'll get on with it. All right, so we're going to go with a cheap dynamic to start off with. It is a first act microphone. Good times. We'll actually do this video sometime in the future. I am just a hair before 10 on this thing. And just check out what happens when I crank it all the way up to a 10, which I'm going to do while I'm talking. When I crank it up just that little tiny bit on this interface, it goes nuts. It immediately just goes kind of crazy. It's clipping like crazy here. It's clipping like crazy on the interface, though on Audacity it doesn't look that bad, but I still believe it's clipping. So I'm going to back it off just a tiny little bit there, and now we're back to normal on there, but it's just not a great interface by any means. Let's go ahead and unplug it and plug in something a little more power hungry real quick. All right, so now we've got a Rode Procaster hooked up to it, and surprisingly it doesn't need that much more gain, but I'm going to try to tick it up. There's that again. I'm going to tick it back down. So basically, I mean, for a dynamic, you have to have it dialed in perfectly to get anything out of it, which I think is just not great. Not great at all. Another downside to this, I have the output signal on 10, which is going to the headphones, and the headphone amp in this thing, I can barely hear what's going on in my headphones, barely. And I've tried every pair of headphones I have in the studio, and I'm getting next to nothing out of the headphone amp in this device. So again, I'm not going to go through and do a lot of things with this interface. It is very basic. The idea of a $49 interface brand new is great. But if you don't have any headroom for dynamics and you have to crank it on condensers and you really have to find a way to dial it in, and you don't have the headphone power to really understand what you're hearing, it's just, I'm sorry, it's a shitty interface. It is a shitty interface. I would take the Behringer UM2 at $1 less 50 times over the M Audio M-Track Solo. So if you were thinking about buying this plastic hollow garbage, buy at least a piece of decent hollow plastic gear and just grab the UM2 from Behringer. To me, it's leaps and bounds better than this. So I was very disappointed. Yeah, you get some cool software, and that's great. But otherwise, unless you want to use a condenser microphone, get it dialed in, and never really change, this is almost useless, in my opinion. Sounds fine, even with it cranked all the way up like that. There's not a lot of preamp noise. It's just not a strong enough preamp, and that to me is a deal breaker. So, Obscure Mics, the M-Track Solo is out. Bark is out. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great 2021. First video of the new year, 1/1/21. Let's go out and party like Anderson Cooper. Peace out.